Did you know that 1 in 3 older Australians could unknowingly break the law in 2025 just by doing what they've always done? From accessing their super too early to unknowingly violating new digital ID rules, the legal landscape is shifting fast. And yet most people over 60 have no idea these changes are happening right under their feet. What used to be routine, like signing a power of attorney or withdrawing pension payments, might now come with serious consequences. Laws are being rewritten, and your rights, your money, even your healthcare could all be on the line. But here's the twist. Not all of these changes are bad. In fact, some could save you thousands if you know what to look for. But miss even one of these updates, and you could lose access to essential services. Or worse, fall victim to a scam that the government could have protected you from. So if you're over 50 or love someone who is, this video is not optional. We're counting down 10 crucial laws every older Australian needs to know in 2025, including some that sound too outrageous to be true. But trust me, they are. And by the end of this video, you'll know how to protect your future, your finances, and your family before it's too late. Number 1. Aged Care Reform Act 2025. In 2025, one of the most significant shifts in Australian law is the introduction of the Aged Care Reform Act, and it's set to completely change the way older Australians receive care. This isn't just a bureaucratic update. This is a top-to-bottom overhaul of how aged care facilities operate, how care is delivered at home, and what rights residents and their families now have. Under the new laws, aged care providers are being held to much stricter standards, with increased penalties for neglect, poor service, and even emotional abuse. The government has officially recognised that older Australians deserve not just basic care, but dignity, safety, and respect, and these rights are now legally protected. One of the biggest changes? The introduction of the new Aged Care Code of Conduct, which every worker and facility must follow. This means that if a carer speaks to you disrespectfully, rushes your meals, or fails to clean your room properly, it's no longer just poor service, it could be a legal breach. Residents and family members will also have access to independent complaints bodies, and aged care staff may be stripped of their registration for repeated misconduct. For families, this law also introduces more transparent communication, requiring facilities to provide clear updates on care plans, health changes, and resident rights. If you or a loved one are receiving aged care, whether at home or in a facility, it's now more important than ever to know your rights. Download a copy of the Aged Care Charter of Rights, keep a personal care log, and don't hesitate to report poor treatment, because in 2025, silence is no longer the only option, and the law is finally on your side. Number 2. Superannuation access adjustments. In 2025, the rules around accessing your superannuation are changing. And if you're not up to date, you could make a costly mistake that affects the rest of your retirement. Many older Australians are planning to dip into their super at a certain age, expecting to draw down funds on their own terms. But this year, new government policies are tightening the timeline and introducing changes to the minimum drawdown rates, tax treatment, and even the eligibility criteria for certain super-related benefits. These adjustments could mean the difference between maximizing your retirement savings or draining them faster than expected. What's especially important to know is that the transition to retirement income stream, TRIS rules, have been updated, with new age thresholds and potential tax consequences for early or poorly timed withdrawals. If you accidentally trigger a higher tax bracket or misreport your income, you might lose access to the age pension or other entitlements. And for those planning to work part-time during retirement, it's now more complex to balance work income and super withdrawals without causing unintended financial penalties. The system is becoming more integrated and monitored, meaning there's less room for error. So, what can you do? The best move is to speak to a licensed financial advisor before making any withdrawals in 2025, even small ones. Make sure you understand the new thresholds, how your super affects your Centrelink payments, and whether you're eligible for tax offsets. Review your retirement income strategy, and don't assume last year's plan will work this year, because in 2025, superannuation isn't just about savings. It's a legal and financial balancing act that could define your future comfort, security, and independence. Number 3. Pension Asset Test Update. If you're relying on the age pension, there's one change in 2025 you absolutely can't afford to ignore. The pension asset test thresholds have been revised, and for many Australians, that could mean a serious change in how much government support they receive. Whether you own property, have money in super, or hold investments like shares, your assets are now being calculated under a new valuation system. This means that assets you didn't think counted before, like your caravan, holiday home, or even collectibles, may now push you over the limit and reduce or cancel your pension. One of the most surprising changes is how family trusts and joint ownership arrangements are now treated. Assets that were once overlooked may be fully counted in your personal tally, especially if they generate income. Even the family home, which has long been exempt, is under increased scrutiny if it sits on a large block of land or includes rental spaces. And here's the kicker. These changes aren't just targeting the wealthy. They're aimed at closing loopholes across the board. So even if you think you're safe, your current financial setup could be working against you. To stay ahead, it's crucial to review your financial portfolio immediately. Get an updated asset assessment and understand how the 2025 rules apply to your situation. Don't rely on old information or advice from years ago. This is a new legal landscape. Small changes like transferring ownership or adjusting investment structures could help you keep your pension benefits intact. Because one overlooked detail could mean losing hundreds of dollars every fortnight, and in retirement, that's a risk no one should take. Number 4. Digital ID laws. Imagine trying to access your bank, Medicare, or pension, only to be locked out because you haven't set up a digital ID. In 2025, that's not a futuristic scenario, it's reality. The Australian government has officially rolled out mandatory digital identity systems across key services, and older Australians are among the most affected. What used to be simple face-to-face or paper-based processes, like renewing a seniors card or checking your super, now require a verified MyGovID or approved digital ID platform. And if you're not set up, you may face delays, denials, or even lose access to critical services. But it's not just about convenience, it's about security. With digital identity laws, your personal data is now stored and verified in government systems, making fraud harder but also introducing a new learning curve. Many seniors feel left behind or overwhelmed, especially those who aren't comfortable with smartphones or online portals. Worse still, scammers are already adapting, posing as government agents, offering to help set up digital IDs, while actually stealing personal information. That's why it's more important than ever to know what's legitimate and where to get help safely. So what should you do? If you haven't yet, create your MyGovID through the official Australian government app, never through third-party links. If you're unsure, visit a Services Australia office or ask a trusted family member for help. Also, make sure your email and phone number are secure and up to date, as these will be used for verification. The future of access is digital, whether we like it or not. And in 2025, knowing how to navigate these new ID laws isn't just useful, it's essential for protecting your benefits, your identity, and your peace of mind. Number 5. End-of-life planning rights. It's a topic many avoid, but in 2025, end-of-life planning has become a legal priority in Australia. With the introduction of new national guidelines, Advanced Care Directives, ACDs, now hold more weight than ever before. For the first time, these documents have been formally recognised across all states and territories, meaning your medical wishes must be followed, no matter where you live or receive treatment. That means if you've documented your decisions about life support, resuscitation, or specific treatments, those instructions are now legally enforceable. This change brings power back to individuals, especially older Australians who want to maintain control over their care in vulnerable moments. But it also means that vague or outdated documents may not offer the protection you think they do. If your directive was written years ago or lacks clarity, medical staff may still be forced to make choices on your behalf. Worse, if there's no directive at all, decisions could fall to people who don't know your true wishes, or worse, disagree with them. With hospitals now required to check for formal ACDs before making critical choices, not having one could create delays or conflict during emergencies. So, what can you do right now? Review your current advanced care plan, or create one if you haven't already. Clearly outline your preferences. Don't leave anything open to interpretation. Discuss your plan with your family, GP, and care providers, and ensure they know where it's stored. You can even upload it to your My Health record for fast access during emergencies. Remember, this isn't about fear, it's about peace of mind. In 2025, planning ahead isn't just smart, it's the law, and it's one of the most compassionate things you can do for yourself and those you love. If this video helped you feel more informed and in control, drop us a comment. Even a simple thank you means the world to us. We put real heart into every video, so if you want more content like this, please subscribe. It's just one click, but it keeps us going. Number 6. Downsizer contribution scheme expansion. If you're thinking about selling your home in retirement, 2025 might be your golden opportunity, literally. That's because the government has expanded the Downsizer contribution scheme, allowing more older Australians to make a tax-free contribution to their superannuation using the proceeds from selling their family home. Previously, this option was limited to those over 60, but now the eligibility age has dropped to 55, opening the door to thousands more people looking to boost their retirement savings in a powerful way. Here's how it works. If you've owned your home for at least 10 years and it's your primary residence, you can contribute up to $300,000 or $600,000 for couples, straight into your super, outside the usual caps. And the best part? These contributions aren't counted toward your concessional or non-concessional limits, making it one of the most tax-effective strategies available. For many, this could mean downsizing to a smaller home or retirement unit while significantly increasing their income stream in later life. It's a win-win, but only if you understand the fine print. So what should you watch out for? First, timing matters. If you contribute too late or without meeting the strict requirements, you could lose the tax benefits. You also need to notify your super fund using the correct form, or the ATO could treat it as a standard contribution, leading to unexpected tax bills. Before selling, speak with a financial planner and check the latest criteria for your state. The 2025 expansion gives you more flexibility, but also more responsibility. Done right, this law could unlock hundreds of thousands in retirement wealth just from a home you were already planning to sell. Number 7. Scam protection laws. Scammers are getting smarter, and in 2025, the Australian government is finally fighting back with some of the toughest scam protection laws we've ever seen. Older Australians have been hit the hardest in recent years, losing over $120 million in scams just last year alone, according to ACCC reports. That's why these new laws give banks, telcos, and online platforms more power to identify, freeze, and block suspicious transactions before your money disappears. For the first time, financial institutions can legally pause high-risk transfers if fraud is suspected, even if you initiate them yourself. One of the biggest changes is the requirement for banks to implement real-time scam detection systems. These tools monitor patterns in your spending, flag anything unusual, and can even stop a payment mid-process. If you've ever received a text that says, "Click here to update your MyGov account," these are the scams these systems are designed to catch. There's also a new focus on educating older Australians, with official programs and resources being rolled out across local councils, libraries, and senior groups. The government isn't just policing scams, they're helping you spot them before they start. Here's what you should do now. Set up transaction alerts through your bank app or online banking portal. Double-check that your contact details are up to date with your bank, MyGov, and Medicare, as scammers often exploit outdated records. And if something feels off, don't click, don't answer, and definitely don't pay. Report it. In 2025, scam protection is no longer just your responsibility. It's the law, but the first line of defense will always be awareness and knowing your rights before a scammer gets anywhere near your savings. Number 8. Power of attorney overhaul. In 2025, Australia is introducing a long overdue shake-up to how power of attorney, POA, works. And if you've already set one up, it might not be valid under the new national framework. For years, the rules around enduring powers of attorney differed from state to state, creating confusion, legal loopholes, and in some heartbreaking cases, elder abuse. Now, there's a push to streamline the system with uniform national standards, improved oversight, and mandatory registration for all new POA documents. This means more protection for older Australians and more accountability for those entrusted with life-altering decisions. The reforms include tighter controls on how attorneys are appointed, stronger checks to ensure the older person understands what they're signing, and real penalties for those who misuse the power. There's also a new requirement to formally register enduring documents, so they're recorded in a national database, making it easier to verify and harder to forge. And here's where many people go wrong. If your POA was created before these changes and hasn't been reviewed, it might not meet the new standards. That means even a trusted family member could face legal challenges when trying to act on your behalf. If you have a power of attorney, don't assume it's safe and up to date. Book a legal checkup. Review who you've appointed and consider updating the document under the new laws. Ask yourself, Does this person fully understand your wishes? Do they have your best interests at heart? And are they ready for the legal responsibility that comes with it in 2025? Because with these reforms, having the wrong person or an outdated document could cost you more than money. It could cost you control over your life, health, and future. Number 9. Strata and retirement village laws. In 2025, major legal reforms are hitting strata living and retirement villages. And if you're living in or thinking about moving into one of these communities, you need to know your new rights. For years, residents have faced confusing contracts, hidden fees, and limited protections. But now, governments across Australia are introducing standardised disclosure rules, clear timelines for exit fees, and minimum maintenance standards to protect older residents from being taken advantage of. These changes aim to bring more transparency, fairness, and predictability into retirement housing. One of the most impactful reforms? You now have the legal right to receive a full financial breakdown of your village contract before you sign anything, including how much you'll owe when you leave. The days of vague promises and hidden costs are coming to an end. Operators are also now legally required to maintain communal areas to an agreed standard, and if they don't, you can formally raise a complaint through a new consumer protection body. In strata buildings, there are tougher rules on dispute resolution, so noisy neighbours or dodgy committees can't just ignore your concerns. If you're considering retirement housing, take time to review the updated village comparison documents, which are now compulsory and must include all fees, services, and your exit entitlements in plain English. Don't be afraid to ask questions. It's your right under the new law. And if you're already in a retirement village, request a copy of your revised resident rights. In 2025, the law is finally tipping the balance back toward the resident, where it belongs. Because where you live in your later years shouldn't be a gamble. It should be secure, clear, and fully in your control. Number 10. Public transport concession law changes. In 2025, changes to public transport concession laws are rolling out across several Australian states, and while they might seem minor, they could quietly cost older Australians hundreds of dollars each year if ignored. From altered eligibility criteria to new ways concessions are applied across bus, train, tram, and ferry systems, the fine print is changing, and not everyone is being told. Some states are now automatically linking seniors cards with digital payment systems, while others still require manual application or renewal. If you're not paying attention, you might lose your discounted travel rights without even knowing it. One of the biggest shifts is in how concession entitlements are verified. Transport systems in New South Wales, Victoria, and QLD are now integrating digital platforms that scan your MyGov or seniors card data directly. If your information isn't current, or if you haven't renewed your card, you may be charged full fare by default. Some concession zones have also been redrawn, meaning travel that used to be free during off-peak hours may no longer qualify. And in some areas, paper-based tickets are being phased out entirely, replaced by tap-on, tap-off systems that require digital access. To stay protected and save money, make sure your seniors card is up to date and linked properly to your local transport app or card. Visit your state's transport website to see what's changed in your area for 2025. Some have already published new fare guides. If you're not comfortable using smartphones or online accounts, don't wait. Ask for assistance at a local service centre. Because in a time when every dollar counts, keeping your travel discounts isn't just convenient, it's your right. And now, thanks to these changes, it's more important than ever to know the system before it changes on you. As we've just seen, 2025 isn't just another year on the calendar. It's a year of serious legal change for older Australians. From how you access your super to your medical rights, housing agreements, digital identity, and even the way you take the bus, everything is shifting. These aren't just small updates hidden in government documents. These are changes that can impact your health, your money, and your independence if you're not paying attention. The good news, knowledge is power. By staying informed, you're not just protecting yourself, you're making smarter decisions for your future, your family, and your peace of mind. You now know what to look out for, what to review, and where to ask for help. Whether it's updating your power of attorney, preparing your advanced care directive, or simply checking if your seniors card is still active, these small steps can make a massive difference. But remember, laws are only helpful if you know they exist. That's why we create these videos, to break down complex, hidden updates into clear, practical advice that you can use right now. So don't let this information go to waste. Revisit any section that applies to your life, talk to your family, and start putting these changes into action today. Because in 2025, being proactive isn't optional, it's essential.